Welcome back to the Norfolk cottage garden, and the rose we're showing you this afternoon is this wonderful established American pillar climbing rose. American pillar is one of the easiest climbing or rambling roses to grow, and in middle of June to late June gives you these wonderful clusters of 4 to 5 centimetre red flowers with this white blanched centre and glowing yellow sepals. Look at that. That's how they open, and as they age the yellow fades, so you get this white central portion to the flower. It's very disease resistant, this, and is tolerant of most soils, so this will grow in acid, alkaline or neutral soils. This first example is growing quite happily over a rose arch. Its natural height is at around 7, 8 and 9 feet. It will grow up to 4.5 to 5 meters, but this is more natural for it. Around this height it is quite happy. It's a little difficult to show you the base of this rose because it is growing through a herbaceous border, but if you see that green spike coming up there, which is reached already in middle of June around 5.5 feet, that is typical of the vigorous upright growth this rose will put on from its base and roots each year. But equally it is quite happily forming these very thick, long-lived, large stems which we've pruned back to here previously, and you've seen how this is shot out, and each one of these, again, vigorous growth up to about 3 meters, and at the end of each of these produces these marvellous sprays of flowers. Now, if you're wanting something to grow through an apple tree that's going to give you distance impact for middle to late June, then American pillar has to be a good choice. Just look at that one. We'll walk up to this and show you it closer up now, but that's filling this quite mature Bramley apple tree. Closer to it now, you can see this has filled this 4.5, 5 metre apple tree quite densely, filling the canopy with these arching boughs that each year you'll see the growth coming from the top there. These will extend up to around 3 meters in growth, and then they'll arch down, just naturally support themselves. This is a very easy way of growing it. It's planted about 2 meters away from the base of the apple tree, growing up through this grass, which in spring is filled with flowering bulbs. In this position, obviously, it's not possible to treat for any diseases, so it has to be quite disease resistant to grow naturally and healthily. There is a bit of black spot on this, which we wouldn't worry about. It's certainly not impeding the flowering of this rose in this situation. And if I come round onto the northern edge of this apple tree, you see it's fallen right the way through, almost down to the ground, and is flowering away beautifully in this situation. Gets a little bit of rose feed each year just scattered around the base, some bloodfish and bone, but basically this is growing in a pretty poor soil. If you have a look at the grass growing in this meadow, it's very, very sparse. There's not much nutrient here, and it's a very shallow sandy topsoil. Getting young trees established in here is a real struggle, and this rose is perfectly happy in this almost droughted and nutrient depleted situation. It's quite nice in this area to have a repeat planting. If I just pan across, you'll see Dorothy Perkins is just coming into its own. The Rambling Rector that we've shown you previously is just about coming to the end of its flowering season. A lot of brown on those flowers now, but still putting on a good show. But it's a couple of weeks later that you start getting this Dorothy Perkins. The Rambling Rector was flowering beautifully well before we had any colour on these. And then the American pillar bursts forth middle of June, continues now through into July, and we've got a third one planted on that rose arch over there, which is a young plant. These take about 4 or 5 years to get established and to do this, but we've got this transition of 3 that will be visible as you walk through this garden, which should in years to come give us this beautiful bright display on this rose arch and through this rose garden into the end of June.